What's up guys, and welcome back to 8 Count. So guys, big breaking news in the KSI Jake Paul saga. It reminds me of Dragon Ball Z, but here we go. Our latest info is out. KSI and Jake Paul have verbally agreed to fight in Wembley Arena. Wembley. 90,000 Wembley. Joshua fights in Wembley. Tyson Fury has fought in Wembley. KSI and Jake Paul, the two YouTubers. It sounds crazy, right? But who else would have the capacity to sell out a stadium like that? Jake Paul and KSI can do it. And most of it's going to be from KSI. So let's get straight into it. What's been happening? Back and forths all over Twitter. Let's just rewind a bit during the beginning of the week. KSI and Alex Wasabi were meant to fight. Alex Wasabi, it was breaking news that he had a concussion in training and he had to pull out of the fight. Jake Paul came online, was laughing to KSI, saying that your event's going to be cancelled, just after KSI had been mocking Jake for having his event cancelled. And there's another part of it I'm going to get to. But these two were having a back and forth. Jake was saying, let me fill in. I'll fight for free, I'll fight on your card, let's do it, let's run it back now. And KSI was like, why are we going to do that? I've got a training camp that's not suited to you. There's so much we can do this fight. We can, like they're trying to do now, go to Wembley Arena, make the sales even huger. You know, it just didn't make sense for the fight to happen now. There's been no build up, there's been nothing. And for them to just go and fight 2 weeks away from fight night, out of nowhere on KSI's first fight back, it doesn't make sense. Jake Paul's just trying to pull a fast one, you know. He tried to just shame KSI online, and it didn't work. Yes, he did kind of get one up on him with that whole thing, calling him out, and KSI didn't agree. But then KSI turned it back on him and said, it was like a few days later, he woke up and was like, all right, we're going to do it on my terms. We're going to do it here at Wembley. The person who wins the fight will get the whole purse, pay-per-view sales, everything. And it'll be at Wembley Arena in 2023, which is only a year away. Less than a year away. We're in August. So, it's probably going to happen next summer by the looks of things. I reckon KSI will fight Swarms. He potentially will have another fight, and then it will be Jake Paul. Or we could see him fight 2 more fights and Jake Paul. But guys, we finally have something. We have something, some sort of agreement between the two. And I think that we're going to finally get this fight on the moving. Okay, so now going back to Jake Paul and his fight. He was meant to fight Hasim Rahman Jr. That fight, again, was cancelled. Hasim Rahman didn't make the weight. And Jake Paul called the fight. But he did actually make the weight. So, hear this out. I believe they made an agreement where Hasim Rahman had to lose a certain amount of weight whenever Paul's camp did a check-in. Hasim Rahman's weight apparently didn't shift in a certain amount of time, so they called off the fight. A day before the fight, Hasim Rahman recorded himself doing a weigh-in, and he made the weight, or he was a pound over the weight. So why did the fight get cancelled? Was Jake Paul pulling a fast one? We now know that he's tried to fight 2 boxers, and it hasn't happened. One being Tommy Fury, and one being Hasim Rahman Jr. So KSI also said, how about you come and fight on my undercard? Hasim Rahman will come to UK. It gives them a little bit more time for him to make the actual weight. And then Jake Paul can fight on the undercard. Obviously, Jake Paul's not going to want to fight on the undercard of a fight, let alone a KSI fight. But Hasim Rahman was up for it. And they've just been having back and forth on Twitter. Jake Paul's not even responding to him anymore. Hasim Rahman feels cheated out of his fight. And he feels like he would have knocked out Jake Paul. We've all seen the sparring footage, which has been released by Jake Paul now. And let's be honest, nothing came of it. Jake Paul was saying how he dominated Hasim Rahman. Hasim Rahman didn't even do anything in the fight. Like, it was a spar. He was going so easy in the spar. Why is he going to go all out on you in a spar? And you can see there was a couple of shots there. He landed on Jake Paul and he's running. He felt the power and he didn't want it. We all know Hasim Rahman would have beaten Jake Paul. Like, people are talking about his last fight where he didn't look the greatest and whatever, but let's be honest, this man has fought an amateur career. He's a professional boxer. He's a 12-1 career. Like, he knows how to box. Jake Paul is an amateur. He hasn't fought a real boxer. He's only fought combat fighters. He's only fought YouTubers or a basketball player. Like, come on. Let's be honest. Like, people have lost their heads. But yeah, anyway. So, interestingly enough, we've seen Hasim Rahman tweet the UK flag. And apparently he's flying to the UK. We've seen KSI's manager liking the tweets and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. Is he coming to fight on the KSI card? Is there a fight which hasn't been announced that's going to be announced late? I'm looking forward to seeing it. I want to see Hasim Rahman Jr. get some sort of fight. You know, we know that he was looking forward to that fight. He looked up for it, you know. He gave Jake Paul the chat back, you know, and that's hard to do for someone who's come from an influence background and then somebody who's strictly on boxing. So let's see what happens. There's so much news going on right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens of this whole YouTube, social media boxing scene. And yeah, guys, like, we're in the month of this whole social media boxing. Within now to a month's time, we'll have seen KSI versus Swarms. Would have seen Austin McBroom versus Anison Gibb. So let's see what happens. But guys, let me know what you think of the news I just said. What do you think is going to happen between KSI and Jake Paul? What do you think is going to happen with Hasim Rahman Jr. and whether you think he's going to fight in the UK? I'll be back again soon if anything drops. Take care and peace.